All right, Dave Pierce, our very own Dave Pierce, will be speaking to us today. This is My Destiny, the Art of Peace and Happiness. Dave Pierce had his own Unity ministry in Florida, right, I believe?
No, it was in Jersey.
Oh, in Jersey, in New Jersey, okay.
It's easy to do in Jersey.
He loves living in the mystery of not knowing, so he's going to tell us all that he does not know today. Thank you, Dave. Take it away.
Thank you. So glad you all showed up this morning. I've been working on a talk with this pad of paper, so I got up this morning and ripped off this part, which is most of the paper, and then wrote something else. It's really fun. I want to dedicate my talk to my dog. Thanks, Marty, you reminded me of Max, my faithful companion. What a beautiful experience. I haven't had a faithful companion in dog form since I was like 2 years old. And I remember seeing the pictures. It was so beautiful to, it's just something to have him there every morning, every night, all the time.
Oh,
You know, it's,
we
those
love
who
our
live in
Pierce.
Enchanted Village, and there are a few of them here, thank you for coming. Know Max, and they're helping me even as I take trips to take care of Max. So that's beautiful. Some years back, I met a man here in town who said he's really excited about following this spiritual guru. And he said, I said, well, what do you mean you follow him? He said, well, my wife follows this man who's in California. So I'm planning to go out there. I've never seen him before. This was before Zoom. So he said, I want to go out. And I said, well, can I go with you? And he said, yeah. And I said, okay, a road trip, here we go. So we drove to Northern California and saw Adyashanti for the first time, spent a weekend there, and we stayed at my son's family's home, and he had twin daughters who had been born just recently. So in the daytime, we'd go to the programs, and at night I would walk the twins. One of them at least. Those kids wouldn't stop crying. It was amazing. So then we turn around and drive back again. That was our weekend. So the next time I went to Adyashanti, I just, I feel like right now at 88, I'm finally beginning to mature just a little bit. And I went to Adyashanti retreat in Mount Madonna Village in California also. That was my next one. And so I came into the room and picked out a chair, and I looked at the chair, and there was a thing there that said, please bow to your chair before sitting down. You're going to be here 5 days in this space, and we want you to bow down. So Adyashanti got up in his chair and started talking to everybody, and then he said, are there any questions? Right away. He says, why do I have to bow to my chair? I don't get that. So he talked to me a little bit, tried to calm me down. And he said, well, there's a sign over the door there, and this is the only door you can come and go. And the door said, resistance is futile. I don't know why in my whole life I've resisted something I really desire. And that is a real spiritual connection. I was told I have a great connection and I have healing hands on. And I kept, even my wife, she wanted me to put my healing hands on her. And I used to refuse. Why? Why do we do this? It's kind of crazy, isn't it? Anyway, that's one of the things that started in my life.
So what did he say about the chair, Dave? I'm curious. What his answer?
You know something? I have a wonderful way to get out of that. I don't remember.
You don't remember what he said. But you do remember that you were annoyed by it.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Yeah.
I know, it seems to be the way. I walked in the room today in the back to do our wisdom circle, and it said, creating the work you love. And I thought, oh my God, I just did that. Oh my God, isn't that gorgeous? Lucky me. Well, I don't have to read that book. So anyway, I've just, I've had some real experiences that should have been wake-up calls. To me, that was a couple of them. The next one, actually the one preceding that was my wife, my first wife. I was married and had 2 children to a beautiful lady. And she, turns out, got breast cancer. And her parents were both medical people, doctors and nurses. And they were very concerned about their daughter, of course. And then it metastasized 3 years later. And they came to live in the house. So all of us in the family, my 2 children, our 2 children, had to deal with our beloved dying at the time, and she was in her early 50s. And one day, I used to walk her around the house. She could hardly walk. She was getting chemotherapy and getting every treatment you could possibly give a person with cancer. And so when she was still home, she ended up going to the hospital and staying there 3 months before she died. But while she was still home, she would say to me when I'd walk her around the house, she said, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. And I didn't know what to say, what to do. And then even worse than that, later on, when she did die, and then I had the wonderful privilege to take care of 2 children, 15 and 16 years old. And one said, I'm not going to live here anymore. No, my friends will take care of me. So I had trouble keeping her home. And you know, it created a space of blame and shame that even goes on a little bit to this day. It's amazing how that can disrupt a family, you know, and what you try to go through. And the question is, of course, how do you bring the family back together? And I must say that I've been partially successful, but not totally. So it's something really to be aware of. One thing that brought out to me, which I'm going to share with you folks, is that I started going to an applied psychology master's degree program. Every weekend I would drive to Philadelphia and go to these classes. And I thought, boy, I'm really learning now. You know, I'm going to be a psychologist, help people out and everything. You know. So one of the first classes was given to me, to us. We were a wonderful group. But this man said that the thing that we want you to learn is about your ears and how that all ties together. So he actually had a picture of 2 ears, left, right, and he brought them together in the shape of a heart. And I think that's before the days where we did that. So the other day when I was with Zach, he taught me something. He said, you know, you can just, you can put your hand around your ear and your other hand around this ear and bring them together, and then you got to put your thumbs down, and that makes the heart. And that's as far as we went, which was fun. But I learned that what you really want to do is bring it down and bring it in and be there. Be the presence that's always there. So many lessons. So we got along pretty good and survived. I felt sorry for Sandy, that was my wife's name, and her parents, because they were so distraught about losing their daughter. They eventually busted out of the house. They were living with me, but then they left. And I survived carrying her body up and down the steps for treatment for weeks, months. it was a tough time for everybody. So, anyway, we eventually got our lives back together. And I got to listen better, more from my heart, and live a better, more fulfilled, being present type of life. One of the things I failed to say, oh no, I did say that, didn't I? I forgot already. I was going to talk about, I met another lady after that, and we had a good life together. But I decided that she would be better off with another man who she knew in high school, which is kind of fun. So I fixed the two of them up together, and they got married. And then I met a beautiful woman who some of you know, Suzanne. How many of you knew Suzanne? Oh my God. I don't know if I can do this.
You can, we're here, we're with you.
It's funny, you smile and yet there's so much emotion there. The most beautiful person that came into my life, I was so lucky to meet this lady. And she had spent the years since her sons were 8 and 9 years old. On New Year's Eve, her husband died suddenly of a heart attack. So she spent that time until I met her, just taking care of those boys. And she cooked all their food fresh, made their clothes, most of them, bought what she could afford to buy, but, make sweaters and other clothing for them, and worked hard to support them and give them a good education. And they're still in my life. They're beautiful young men. And they were here for the celebration service, which was really great. Chris played a little song that he wrote, and that was a good time. So, I miss Suzanne a lot, and I learned a number of things from her. One of the things that she taught me, which really was simple, that maybe you folks could benefit from, I'm not sure, of course, is the fact that when we'd be talking back and forth on the dinner table, let's say, and she would have some idea or something, and I would start to go, oh, I don't think that's going to work. No, that doesn't sound like a very good program to me. She would stand up and just walk out of the room. Oh my God. So I go, holy shit, what just happened? Excuse me. So I would sit there and wait, and eventually she'd walk back. And so one day I asked her, well, what do you do when you leave, when you don't like what I'm saying? As it turns out, she was raised in an extremely abusive family, alcoholic family, and she couldn't stand conflict. So her way to deal with it is just to walk away from it quietly. She says, I just get quiet and pray and forgive and be peaceful until I got myself back together, then I come back in here. Because when she come back, she was just very present and very clear. And I said, wow, what a great process. Something I could learn. Anyway. So, let me see, what else do I have to talk about here? I apologize, I wrote this at 4:30 in the morning. But page 1. We had such a beautiful relationship, and she taught me so much. And I just loved being with her especially when she started feeling the pressures of we didn't know it at the time, but the pressures of cancer coming back into her body. And one day she said to me, she says, you know what, Dave? I can't breathe anymore. And I said, what's going on? And because she didn't, Suzanne, and you get people that knew her close, she didn't tell you personally what was going on. She didn't share that with many people. She kept it quiet. It was her thing to bear and to deal with. So, what's going on? And she said, I just can't breathe. I don't know what's going on. So I said, well, maybe we ought to go to the hospital. And because of her breast cancer experience 40 years ago, she hated doctors, didn't hate them. She just didn't have any respect for doctors in going to the hospital. They pretty well mutilated her, and she had not had good results. And she'd been a cancer survivor for all that time. So we dealt with alternative medicine to try to resolve any lumps that would come up in her breast, which they did during that time. We just didn't do it medically. And so I said, well, if you can't breathe, I'm going to take you to the hospital. She said, okay, let's go. So I took her in, and they said, oh, well, we'll do a bunch of tests. We'll figure out what's going on. And they did. And so we were in the emergency room for, I don't know, hours and hours and hours. And finally the doctor came in and said, well, it looks like your whole chest is filled with cancer. Totally filled. And we recommend you go to hospice. And I'm like, you know, what the hell's happening here? And she turned around and looked at the doctor and she said, this is my destiny. I'm like, holy cow. And she had told me for years that she didn't want to live beyond her late 70s. She didn't want to deal with the medical profession regarding her body's health. She's willing to leave. So we went home, called hospice, brought him in. We did 7 days of the most beautiful time of my life, in silence, with a person you love, 24 hours, being there, and she died. What an experience. You talk about presence. I know I use that word a lot, but man, I tell you, we were present. And it was the most beautiful experience of my life. Really something special. And it's something I really, have honored that I had the opportunity to experience what I call a natural death, even though there was cancer causing it. I tried to give her morphine, as the nurses had asked me to do in the beginning, and they told me, oh, you can give them all that you can give her this kind of morphine, that minute. Oh, do it again in 2 hours. No. So I said, well, I think I'll just ask Suzanne. Suzanne, do you need more morphine? Yeah. She wasn't in pain. She was in a process, man. And she made the process work. And she got what she was going for. And it was her special privilege to do that. So, as I said, it's a real privilege. So, I don't know where I am in this thing, but anyway, after that time I had to get involved with bringing the house into some sort of a saleable order. We spent 2.5 years. My friends, a lot of you in this room, helped me bring that house together, helped me get it in a sales place, because I wanted to get out of there. I couldn't live there anymore. And I also had some friends who are not here today, but helped me to move everything out, organize sales, and get that process gone so I could sell the house. And we finally sold it. And, that's why I feel so free now. And I moved to Enchanted Village, and that was a super move. I came in there, and the people who are here would say, where do you go all day? And I would take off and go to meet Zach or Jakob or, somebody else, or have a session with somebody, or play Frisbee, or do something like that. And, I did things that I've been doing all along that were fun and exciting. So that really has been a great experience. But then I realized, in talking to my neighbors finally, that they were, and like me, feeling a little kind of lonely, kind of like distraught. The partners are gone, your home is gone, you're in a place you're not familiar with, you're not familiar with the people, you're not familiar with how you get things. There's a lot of unfamiliarity to adapt to when you move into a unit in a senior residence like that. Most of us, not me, but a lot of the people there, the way they got there is their children suggested that this would be the way for them. So they say, Mom, we got this apartment for you, and it's this one right here. Look at her laugh, she knows. And you'll love it, bye. And they're out the door. So they call back in a few weeks. How you doing, Mom? No, I'm doing pretty good. I'm Are you around? No, I'm in New York. Well, okay. Have a good trip, son, or whatever. So that's the way life can be in Enchanted Village. So I decided that I should move a group I was holding here, which was a support group for elders, to the village. They're the people that need it, including me. I'm feeling lonely. I'm feeling out of sorts, So we've been doing that now. For how many months? Anybody remember? I don't know. I've been doing it for a while.
3 or 4.
3 or 4? You think it's been?
4 months.
You don't come, Jim. Aren't you old enough? Well, anyway, we've been holding these groups there, and we had our last group, of course. It's Friday morning, and we've come together as a circle, a group, and damn, we're able to share what's going on with us. We're able to support each other. Mimi brings me food almost every day. I mean, we've been able to see what's happening. What do people need? You need to go to the store today? Yeah, I need to go to the store. Well, how come you're not getting this? How come you're not getting that? Let's work it out. Let's go to find the people that run this place and see if we can change some things. And it has been a blast. I have enjoyed it to the point where now I'm calling this kind of work my destiny. Just like Suzanne in her trip to die was her destiny. And it's so beautiful to be able to communicate with people when you're in the same situation and to be able to help people. And Friday we had this phenomenal healer who some of you have met. She came here, Danielle Brooks, come and talk to our group. And we had 14 people and we had a blast. We had a great time. Matter of fact, a couple of people sitting here today have come up to me personally and said, wow, that was the greatest healing or evolution or what would you call it? I don't know. What do you call it, Zach?
Just a wonderful experience.
It's a wonderful experience. So we're thinking about bringing Danielle Brooks, who was the individual who came. She lives in Santa Fe, and she has a program where you can do like 7 different types of things you can work on in a session. So having a session for 7 or 8 people and having it here in Taos. And she does individual treatments, which people in this room have experienced. And this lady is connected. She's really been through a lot and really processed a lot herself and learned how to be with you when you need to open up, when you need to expand, when you need to be the only thing you can ever be, which is presence, in my viewpoint. So this to me is a wonderful opportunity, and I want to spend a lot of time, as much as I can that works, in really supporting her work and supporting her in coming here to Taos. So I'm really happy about that. One of the things too that I got in here somewhere about it, right after my wife died, I started doing
Microphone.
the grief work. Thanks, Zach. And I found out that grief work is so valuable. And being willing to open yourself up, that's all you have to be, is willing. It's gonna come to you through grace. You're not gonna create it. It'll just happen when it's ready to happen, when you're ready for it. But that gets you prepared to come back into a full life. And so I encourage any of you that have had loss, I don't care if it's a loss of your little kitty cat, or a loss of something, whatever it may be, a few bucks, or like having your checking account rifled or whatever, that work will open you up again and allow you to live a full, complete life. It's extremely important, and I highly recommend it. Can I ask if there's any questions, or
Of course.
if, I don't know if you want to. Marta?
I just want to say to you, Dave, I'll probably cry when I say this, thank you so much for sharing that about Suzanne, all your feelings, because I loved her so much, and that you brought her back. I feel like her presence is here, and you spoke of her, and I just want to say thank you for talking about her so sweetly. She was so greatly loved by this community.
Yeah, thank you, Marta. It's a pleasure.
And for those of you who don't know, she was the president of her board for several years, and the Kuan Yin that we have on the altar was hers.
And she was president of the food co-op.
I have a question, Dave.
Yeah.
You feel if you had not had this spiritual experience, your whole process or path would have been much different?
Would it be much different? Well, I was an alcoholic living a life of no responsibility. I used to find myself in strange places around the country when I traveled all over the world, dead drunk and sleeping in my car. Yeah, I think it would be different.
Yeah, it definitely would be. And it was for me too.
Yeah,
But I just wanted to point out that that's pretty incredible
it is.
to go through all these things we go through in life, and then experience the spiritual aspects of ourselves and grow in that, and grow in consciousness. It just changes our lives.
It changes our life. Be willing, folks. Don't resist. It's futile.
I don't think it ever lets go of us.
Well, no. I don't think there is any such thing. It's what we are, my friend. And the problem is, why do we resist it, and why do we play the games around it that we
Because we're
do?
human.
We could be loving each other and having an interactive experience, which I'm now just coming into at the men's group yesterday. I was thinking to myself as I was watching men share deeply. 14 men. They say men don't share too much. You should have been in this group yesterday. So men were sharing from their heart, and everybody was loving it, being still, giving them the space to do that sharing. And I thought, oh my God, I'm so connected when I'm sitting here in this group. I feel just like each man is going through me, coming through. And I used to sit, and I still do sometimes, have incredible judgment about, well, why do they do that? How come they allow that? Or what's going on? Are they stupid or something? And yesterday I was like, oh God, just open your heart, boy. Little boy, come on.
I wanted to comment, you were talking about the elder circle at Enchanted Village and how you help each other. Do you need to go to the store, this, that? But I felt what you didn't mention was that those people are sharing their feelings, and that's what they really need because they're lonely. And sharing their feelings is what is enriching and brings the life back to them, and how you have facilitated that. And You've done great work there.
It's such a pleasure. It's such a pleasure. It's what it's like my destiny. Yeah. Without that and Max, life would be nothing. That's my grandkids gave me that. By the way, another secret of waking up in the morning for me is to have 3 pieces of white chocolate. I thought I'd share that secret.
Essential. It's an essential
Pardon me?
part.
It's essential. Jim knows that. Yeah.
Medicine.
Are there any other questions or comments?
Well, I wanted to hear more about the elder circle. Is it open to anybody? Do you have to
Absolutely.
limit-
Now, we've been pretty much a local group
At the Enchanted Village?
at the Enchanted Village. It's between apartment 34 and 35, down in the corner. And I live in 33, so you can come to my house and I'll give you a tour and give you a cup of coffee and whatever you need, and then we can go. It's 10 o'clock on Friday mornings. 10:30, I'm sorry. 10:30 on Friday mornings.
It's in the newsletter, isn't it?
It is in the newsletter, yeah, every week.
We don't get to.
We need an elder circle.
Or it's on our website.
I do.
What's that?
It's on the website, our website.
Oh, is it? Okay. Thank you, Jim. Anybody else? Oh, I forgot to mention my 2 books.
Oh, yeah.
Because this was in the title of talk for some reason. I don't think I,
Microphone.
presence at the microphone. Volume 1, The Art of Peace and Happiness, Rupert Spira. If you're a bookie, try it out. It's difficult for me to learn this way. I don't read very well. If your presence, here in volume 2, it says, the intimacy of all experience. And so
Is
it's
that Rupert Spira too?
Rupert
They're
Spira
both
too.
wrote by Rupert?
Yeah. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave.